listening to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good evening and welcome to Car Wax. I'm Michael, your Bougie Black Brother, and you're listening to a little of Nicolayand from his 2007 The Dutch Masters Volume 1 Instrumentals, and this is the Come Close remix. And I have my co-host with me, Sean.
Woody, son.
Shield, today we have something that I'm enjoying a lot. We got two artists. One is Phonte and the other is Prime. And I'm excited by these two because, as y'all know and Sean knows, I'm a beats man, and we got two of my favorite actual producers for these two people that's coming out. So I was looking forward to actually doing these because I've been playing them back and forth, and then going back to some old shit just to see where they actually progress to. So pretty excited of listening to them and listening to their old stuff. But I would like to start with Phonte because that was one that I was kind of surprised at, because I've heard him and with Foreign Exchange, and then I heard him on a couple of other cuts. But like Sean mentioned previously, he was with a group called Little Brother.
Yeah.
But I never heard that. I just heard him when he moved from them, and he was actually created a group with the Dutch producer Nicolayand, which this guy's just fantastic with the way he lays down a lot of his beats and all. So, Sean, if you give me your background with the Little Brother, or what you know more so with them.
Well, with Little Brothers? Well, Little Brothers always been a underground kind of hip hop group. You know, they were kind of, how can I say? They definitely had no mainstream media about them. Mm-hmm. You know, right. It was kind of just like, if you follow and happen to know them, or you happen to go one of their shows, or they open it up for one of your favorite artists, and they happen to be there, that's kind of how you trip up upon them. They not really, I don't know. I guess the promotion for Little Brothers wasn't as big as it could have been, I would say. Mm-hmm. So, but they're pretty good, man. They're lyrically sound artists, you know. So. Okay. That's what kind of turned me on to them. You know, their beats were average then, right. You know, but, you know, they were cool, man. They made a couple of catchy things, you know, but, you know, for the most part, I didn't really get too deep into Little Brothers.
Okay. But what about, you know, Phonte, though?
Now, this actually surprised me.
Okay.
I don't know how I ended up tripping up on this, man. It's been kind of a dry early of the year, you know. A lot of big artists aren't really coming out like that, so
right.
You know, and I'm kind of just waiting for some real good stuff. So a lot of young artists been coming up. So you know, this was me kind of searching for some good stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I listened to it, I initially listened to the album backwards.
Whoa.
You know, okay. And how it plays out backwards is. He's harmonizing more on the back end, you know, sounding like Dwelle on the back end. So
yeah, very good. Good call out. Because so I kind of picked that up too. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was initially like, oh wow, this is an interesting artist. You know, the way he's playing on these, you know, Detroit beats, you know, with his Detroit sound. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then when it got, so I'm playing I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting into the album because
that's cool.
This is my first time kind of hearing him by himself.
Right.
So, you know, I'm playing the album and it's playing backwards and I'm not really noticing. And I'm just like, oh, wow, this is a nice little artist. So it kind of softens you into his lyrics, you know, when you play it backwards.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I was looking at, because what happened is I put it on and I just played it. and I wasn't even looking at the titles or anything. So I was like, wow, that was a good album. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh snap, I just played this backwards. So I had to get another copy. So what happened, I just got the wrong copy. I had to get another copy that played it right.
Okay.
You know, and then when I played it, and I was just like, oh. So it gave me a whole different aspect of the album initially when I listened to it back to front. When I listened to it back to front, it really sounded great. Right. You know what I'm saying? But then front to back, it gave a different message.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It really, you know, when I first heard it front to back, it was like, okay, he's spitting. Then I heard it again, and I'm just like, holy shit, he's actually saying some things in here.
Gotcha.
You know,
gotcha.
You know, like, he's not really he's giving you Detroit bars, you know what I'm saying? You know, that Jay Dilla feel, but he's giving you a message. You know what I'm saying? Like with the food thing and his family, you know, that really touched me, how he was able to kind of freely express it with confidence.
Right.
You know, so I heard that second time around. I was feeling his delivery and, you know, how he was doing it the first time around. You know, and then when it got down to the second half of the album, I guess I appreciated it less when I heard it front to back.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it was kind of like, I understood the theme of the album. The whole theme was, you know, a whole homage to Jay Dilla. It had to be. You know what I'm saying? There was no way around it, you know?
Not really, but go ahead. You gotta let me know about that.
Well, when you listen to the beats, that speaks for itself. All of those are Jay. Well, they're not Jay Dilla beats, but they're replications of Jay Dilla beats.
Okay, I'm gonna have to school you on that, though. Go ahead.
Okay, but you know, so for the most part, I was like, all right, when I heard him on the end initially, it was like, okay, this is nice. But then after I heard his bars, it was kind of like, there's not really a need for that. When you could have just spit the whole album.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if I wouldn't have to listen to it back to front, then I would have definitely had a whole different aspect on this album. I'll just say it like that.
Okay.
You know, I would have appreciated it less. I appreciated it more because I heard him harmonizing first. And him, you know, doing the Detroit feel. This whole album just gave me the whole Elzai. He sounded like Elzai on a lot of this.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then he gave you a little bit of Jay Dilla too. You know, giving, you know, flow wise. So I definitely heard a lot of that coming in here. That was just my aspect.
Okay. That's interesting, because I'm not sure if I heard that Detroit feel, but okay, that's different. I didn't expect to hear that. But so Phonte, I heard him and Nicolayand way back in 2004, 7. Because this is a Dutch guy. He's a producer. So he's from the Netherlands. Nicolayand from the Netherlands. So he hooked up with OK Player with Phonte and a couple of the little brothers. So they combined and made a group called For an Exchange. So he broke away from Little Brothers, and him and Nicolayand started doing music together. So Nicolayand has a almost European hip hop sound. So he was different when he came out with it. If you listen to his old sound, you can pick up the same thing that he's doing now, but he's just he upgraded a little bit. So so I loved a lot of his. I really wasn't into the guys that was spitting on there. Phonte was good because, like you said, he was harmonizing, but he was in that era kind of battle rapping. So this one had messages, which was really interesting because, you know, when I kind of read into it, he's like 40 years old. So he's talking about what he's doing as an older guy now.
Right.
It's not about battling anymore. So I just found that when Nicolayand put his beats behind there, it just gave like such a smooth rhythm. And I'm biased because Nicolay just been somebody I've been following anyway, because he has one of his major albums afterwards, because with Foreign Exchange he did some instrumental albums, and then he turned around and did another Foreign Exchange, and then he was going back and forth. But he has a couple of instrumental albums on his own, and he did a couple of remix. He did a remix for Common, one of his cuts and everything. So
okay,
yeah, so he's a really unique kind of guy, and I just didn't pick up with the uniqueness of JD, like you said, but it does have that soulful sound, you know.
Okay.
And I think that's where I think I can agree with you when it comes to that Detroit, because that Detroit sound is real soulful kind of music, and then going from there.
Right. But I agree that that could have been where Jay Dilla got his sound from.
It could be, or they was just on some level that, you know, when he was doing his. I don't think Dilla actually heard anything with his. I think they was on different continents with a whole vibe, and they was going a different direction, because his is a little more cleaner, where your boy Dilla he has a lot of raw type beats, but really, really good, because that's how I enjoyed a lot what he did. So yeah, but I just find that interesting. But so in the Foreign Exchange album, there's some singing in there, and then there's a couple of them that when you check them out, you'll see that, oh, this is, what is this? Is this rap, or is this, what is it? So it's a combination of like R&B and everything else. But I heard the Connected album, and which was the first album. That was 2004. And there's a couple of, if you go back and you hear that, you'd be like, okay, that's similar. But, you know, the rapping was like mediocre. And you can tell the progression with that. But it was pretty mediocre. The singing ones, the R&B ones, I thought was really good, because that's what I picked up on. I didn't pick up on the rap stuff. I picked up more so on the R&B stuff. And then Nicolay released a full album, and it was like a double. He said, here's my remixes, and here's all my instrumentals. And all I did was listen to all the instrumentals, because he was so fucking awesome on there. And that was the Dutch Master. So if you look up Nicolay Dutch Master, you'll see that. And on the back end of that, it's like maybe 11 instrumental cuts, and then they even put the Common joint on there with I think it's somebody singing in the background, but it just loses me. But back to the, I don't want to lose that, but Phonte, I liked his, how would you say, his maturity in what he's rapping about.
Right.
So I think that stood out for me too. I mean, I think everybody's talking about it because even when I looked at reviews, was the expensive jeans. This dude talk about high blood pressure. He's talking about, yo, my jeans is fucked up. You know what I mean? But on the surface, people who not really listening to what he's saying, you think he's talking about blue jeans.
Right.
He's talking about DNA jeans. And I was like, how fucking cold was that? And then with Nicolay playing that's a little different than a lot of the other cuts. So he used a whole different sound with some of the cuts on there that I was like, damn, he is progression. He's kind of using some different kind of sounds within that. And Pastor Tilligo and Sweet You, it's a lot of fucking good cuts on there when you listening to it, to what you saying.
Yeah,
you kind of like, wow, okay, well, I'm feeling that. And on the back end, there's a couple of the harmonizing that he kind of went into on the back end too.
Yeah, man, I really honestly enjoyed the whole album. You know, as a whole, I was highly impressed and disappointed that he didn't have more material out there for me to have. You know, there is a tape that he did That was pretty good. It was like a mixtape actually.
Right.
But he did the tape and probably did that 2 years ago maybe.
Okay.
And it basically gave the same feel, but it was I can't even remember. Oh yeah, it's Tigolero with Eric Roberson.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He did 10 tracks with Eric Roberson called Tigolero, and that was really smooth. No, but that's it. That's all the material that I heard by himself. Now to your point, because you put me on game. I never got into that group.
The Foreign Exchange.
Never got into them. Never
Yeah.
heard of them until I heard of him and you started speaking on them.
Right. Right. No, but that's worthwhile listening to, and then you can see his progression too, and that's what I enjoyed, because I was like, who the fuck is this? And then I was like, Foreign Exchange, god damn it, that's where I heard his voice from. And then when I went and I was like, that's my man right there. And then when I went there and I heard the mediocre other niggas that was on there, I was kind of like, oh, that's why he left them alone.
Why he left? Yeah, okay.
So he went there, but then when you hear the production, you know that Foreign Exchange always going to have Nicolayand on there. Again, he moved from the Netherlands to North Carolina, that's where goddamn Phonte is right now. So except for them actually doing beats together back and forth, he decided to move to the States and just picked up from there. So
right.
So on one note, you can hear Nicolay production wise, but if you want to hear a little more Phonte and him bringing in other people besides what he doing, it's the Foreign Exchange, which is like it's good. It's nothing to be like, oh, this is what you slept on. I don't think you slept on it. It's a good option to kind of like check out and everything. But I'm just a fan of Nicolay because his sound and his production is almost not quite mainstream, but really, really good. He got some really good stuff.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to really do my research on him then. See what Nicolay talking about.
Yeah. Just Google that, and you're gonna see them both actually together. And he's trying to, Phonte is trying to see if he'll do another album with the Little Brothers. But right now his producer is Nicolay, so you're gonna hear that kind of sound with what he does. But I just like his maturity in his rapping right now, as opposed to what you heard before. So I'm just really enjoying that.
Nice. Okay. So overall, what you give it then?
So I give it a good 8. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna overdo it. I'll give it a good 8 because I liked him because I heard him before, but I'm all into the production. But I don't think it's like one of those is like I'm gonna scream from the top of the ceiling saying, yo, y'all got to hear this. This is just a really good album. It's a nice flow. It can be in your rotation, but not really one of your major rotations. So like what you said earlier, we're waiting for some major people to come out with some productions. You know what I'm saying? And this will fall off easily. But if you come through and start listening to some stuff and say, oh yeah, man, Phonte, let me hear that one more time. It's one of those. It's not one of them you'll pull back and listen to again consistently. It's one of them that you will run into. So that's why I left it at a good 8, a solid 8.
Okay. I really enjoyed the album. I think the album was very well put together. He didn't overdo it. Mm-hmm. There was enough substance in there to hold you, sustain you. It was definitely I wouldn't call it a debut album because he's been doing this for a minute. But this is a good reintroduction for him.
Oh, no doubt.
So I definitely give it about I give it an 8 too. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I give it an 8 too. Because I just feel like I feel like it could have been more product out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this could have been this was kind of just part of his collection. I think he was just like, let me put this out because people's been asking where I've been. You know what I'm saying? And it was good, really, really good. Could he have put more hits on it? I don't know. I thought this was just a really good hit. I give it an 8.5, man, because I thought it was just really good. I thought it was really good, and I don't feel like he was doing it to impress. I feel like he was just doing it to say, hey, whew, I got it off my back.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Or this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, so he wasn't flexing on muscles. It was just like, hey, man, you know, this has been going on, and I'm putting it on the paper. You know, hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Talking about his old lady and everything.
Yep.
And I enjoyed it, dog. I really enjoyed it. So he gets a solid 8.5, man.
Okay.
He gets a solid 8.5.
See, that's cool. See, this is another thing that I like, because you give me a perspective when you say, hey, look, I've been following this guy, and when he came out with this, he's done better. Right. And he should be doing a lot more, so I'm going to give it this. I've been following him. So this is some stuff that I happen to run back into, because what they've been coming out with has been okay. You know, he's got a 2017 that I totally miss, Foreign Exchange. I totally miss that, because it's nothing that jumps out at you. They have a certain sound together that's cool, but it's not you won't see them with the major people. So when this came out, I enjoyed it, because it was a lot more rap than a mixture of R&B and rap like Foreign Exchange is. Okay. So I was like, cool, and good effort. I like it, and I like hearing him outside of hearing those other jerks. I don't mean to call them jerks, man. I'm sorry.
I think you said it right. You hit it right on the nail. This was good effort, right? It wasn't like I know I can rap, so I'm gonna just put some slick stuff out. Mm-hmm. It was like I work on my craft. You know what I'm saying? Right. And in between the time, these are the issues that I'm going through.
Yeah, in life. You know?
Right.
And he didn't do it like, I gotta tell you this because people are talking about their life. He was kind of like spitting like, this is my day-to-day shit. This is what I go through, me and my lady.
Like a journal, bro.
Yeah. and he just put it down, put it that way. So any of them kind of stood out for you though, cut-wise?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. My three favorite, of course, Pastor Tigolo, and of course, Expensive Jeans. Mm-hmm. But Change of Minds. I thought Change of Minds was pretty good.
That was good.
Reminded me of Sampha.
Yeah. Okay.
That was one of the ones that was kind of like, oh, I didn't know you could take it there. You know what I'm saying? And Euphorium. Those two on the singing tip. You know what I'm saying? Those two were really like, oh wow, he has a range. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But not as an R&B artist, but as an MC. Mm-hmm. I can honestly qualify him as an MC.
So you know, I like the Sweeter Than You. No, Sweet You rather. Yeah. You know, what could be sweeter than you? And then he goes with the rapping and everything. But I liked how that just came in, and then the production just rolled in. I was like, oh, okay, I'm good with that. So I thought that was uniqueness too, and I have to agree with you with the Change of Mind. And
Change of Mind was nice.
I just liked how that flowed. That flowed really well too. And again, they work together enough that you can see that whatever he laid down for him, he was able to ride it all the way through. Yeah. Yeah, it was no struggle because he was like, this is my man, and this is what we do together. Yeah.
That's and Lil Brothers is actually Ninth Wonder was the producer of Lil Brothers.
Oh, Ninth Wonder.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, Ninth Wonder has been in South Carolina or in Carolina for a minute.
Right. You
know, just period. North Carolina and South Carolina. Just call them both.
Say the Carolinas.
Right. So, you know, I guess before Jamla was Jamla Records, you know, Lil Brothers was Lil Brothers with Ninth Wonder.
Okay.
So, and then, you know, he found Rhapsody out of Carolina too.
Yep. That's cool.
Yeah. So he got his fingerprints on here. Just know that Ninth Wonder definitely has his fingerprints on Sampha and the Lil Brothers and anything that's coming out of North Carolina.
Okay. So that was cool. So again, I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna give it a whole lot of credit because I've just heard a lot better. But I love the effort in this. I love his separation of saying I don't need to have these other guys supporting me, because he only had maybe 2 features on it, extra features, but he only had 10 cuts too. So if you're gonna fill up with features, then what the fuck are you doing with only 10 cuts? But I think it flowed really well. I think and
then I think people wanted him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I think people were looking for him. So when you say features, I don't think this was. He didn't care about no features. No. This was like, yeah, man, let me drop some music that I want to drop.
Yeah.
So it definitely gave me a refreshing underground sound. There was a effortless flow. Effortless flow with potent content. I really enjoyed the content, dog. And it was just a great body of work, man.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. But I just won't rate it as high. I mean, and your rating is how you feel about it. I can't tell people to say, no, you have to rate it this way. It's how you feel about it. But I think we agree that it's a good effort, and it flowed really, really well with some great content. So yeah, I just enjoyed it.
As the underground rap category, it's high, very high up there.
Yep. Yeah, I can say that. Saying? I can say that. Yeah.
So if you're comparing him to Chains and Cole and Kanye or anybody that,
do it.
That's not. You'll be like, man, this is cool, but you know what I'm saying. You're definitely gonna have a butt after that. But but again, this is not that type of music. You know what I'm saying? So in the underground category, I'm definitely rating this a 9. You know what I'm saying?
So I'll come close to a 9. I'm not going to give it a 9, but I'll give it at least a 0.5 or 7.5. I'm going to have it high up there. I'm not so freely with my 9s, until you overwhelm me like, oh my God. I was out of breath listening to this shit because it was just kept coming at me. And when we get with Cole, because the content of Cole just really fucking got me. But we'll wait on that one because I just gotta hear it 2 more times. But anyway, so good effort all the way around. Really enjoyed it. Join us next time for our second half review of Prime with the new release Prime 2 on the Bougie Black Production.